Based in Long Island, New York, Backyard Players and Friends is a nonprofit organization that provides inclusive arts-based community programs for teens and young adults with special needs. Run by 5 sisters, their mother, and a business partner, Backyard Players has opened its arms to serving the public by creating an imaginative safe space for those who may not experience the same environment in their day-to-day lives. Co-founder and director Ellen White speaks more on the purpose of this collective.
The Backyard Player and Friends, the elevator pitch, is a creative arts program for young adults with developmental disabilities. And we provide classes each week. We have about 150 participants right now. And we do fun classes like yoga, movie bites, theater, creative writing. What we're looking to do is just to include as many people as we can. And our mission is to just be together and to create friends and to shine a light on this population.
Co-founder and director Christine Daly explains why Backyard Players was created back in 2007.
Backyard Players we ran a children's drama camp for a number of years in a number of different locations, everywhere from Long Island to Ridgewood, New Jersey to Saratoga, New York. Backyard Players and Friends kind of came out of that when Mrs. White actually one day ran into a mother of one of the participants or someone that she knew that was part of our summer camp. And she had asked how her son was doing. And the mother became very upset saying, well, my child graduated from high school and now has no social activities whatsoever. And he's not doing very well. He's sad and, kind of struggling to find some social interactions. And that's when kind of Ellen turned to myself and my other sisters and said, this is an opportunity. Let's do something. So we kind of took our theater drama camp and turned it into a night program where we started with about 3 participants with developmental disabilities. And every time we held another class, 5 more participants walked in. 10 more participants walked in, and we were in a very small little space in a local church. And before we knew it, we were too big for that room, and we needed to look for somewhere else to go. So it kind of came from a need, and we were hoping to answer the call to help some of those young adults and teens.
However, the love of community and the arts stems back even further to their own childhood, growing up in Queens as a family of 7 children with their mother and father. Backyard Players co-founder and consultant Joan Kelly reminisces on their very beginnings.
We didn't have a lot of money, but we had a backyard that had a porch. My father took the screens down and we invited all the kids in the neighborhood to come to our shows. We had kids of all abilities around our neighborhood. And we had a young boy with Down syndrome that would sit on our stoop every summer morning waiting for my father to come out. There was no limit. We took foster children in during the holidays, a child with disabilities that came in, and we're 7 kids and a grandmother and a dog, and where are we fitting anybody? But it's who we are as people. We just see a need. And the bigger the family, the more you take in. There's always plenty of room, especially in your heart.
Mother and founder of Love Nana, a sister organization working closely with Backyard Players, Joan Highland, recalls the origin of Backyard Players, which stems from the shows her children would perform in their backyard.
We had a little house, but we had a garage. So what I did is I painted the inside of the garage, and they would invite the kids, and then they would say, Mom, we're going to charge 25 cents. And so then when they came in, and some of them didn't have it, of course, they said, Ma, if they don't have the 25 cents, we're still going to let them come in. Me, as a mother, I'm so delighted how well they get along. All the things that they have done all these years, I'm so proud.
Decades later, this family bond has only gotten stronger. And while many siblings would dread working together, this large bunch has mastered a system that has proven successful throughout the years.
We do get along. That's a beautiful thing. I know lots of people, it's always a struggle sometimes to work with people that are in, your siblings. But because we have a common cause and a love, we just do it. And there's enough of us to pass it around and help each other out.
Yeah, I agree, Joan. And also we're women and we have worked together for a long time. And when we come together to get something done, we kind of all stay in our own lane. It almost very naturally happens without having to say, you do this and I do this. We just kind of naturally fall into a rhythm that we've had our whole lives with each other.
I
also think what works is that we know, like Ellen was saying about staying in our own lanes, we know each other's strengths. And I think that's what's important. I know when I can step back and let someone else take the lead, and I'll know when it's my turn to step up. So we've never really had any kind of conflicts like that at all whatsoever, which is wonderful.
We laugh a lot.
We do.
We laugh a lot.
Working together as a group of women creates a rather unique dynamic that not only inspires those around them, but also one another.
I think the empowering aspect of it is we actually kind of feed off each other and empower each other as well. I think when there's an idea, we'll all kind of say, well, what do you think? I think it's good. And we'll bounce it around. We'll have all these different variations and variables and ways that we can do it and what will work and what won't work. But we, very rarely say no. We actually feel when we look at what we've done over these past number of years, and we have 2 storefronts now and 150, close to 200 participants in our program. And sometimes we step back and say, wow, that's what we did. And it wasn't just one of us, it was all of us doing it. And it's a wonderful feeling. It's a very empowering feeling.
But just like the old saying goes, hard times make you stronger. And just like the coronavirus pandemic affected everyone across the globe, Backyard Players was no different.
When we originally started, our intent was to be a real community program. So our programs ran in over 6 different locations. We were at the library, we were at the local fitness place, the rec center. We had a great partnership with Malloy College, at St. Mark's Church. And so every night we'd be out in a different place, holding classes. And then when that week in March came that everything shut down, like with the rest of the world, we jumped on Zoom. Who even knew what Zoom was at that time? This population who lives an isolated life every day, we're being pushed further and further back into isolation. And we knew how important it was that we had to get quickly up on our feet to offer those classes again.
Though many members call Backyard Players home, the founders and directors of the organization realized that they needed one of their own.
When we tried to get back in person, we realized that the kindness of these places, they had to now worry about their own survival. So to then ask further to open the doors to us again just wasn't feasible. So we realized rather quickly that we needed our own location. And that was a very big undertaking. We had an old-fashioned fundraiser, kind of like Jerry Lewis fundraiser, on Zoom. What we raised was just astounding. Totally blew us out of the water. We turned to our community for help because we needed it so desperately, and they showed up and propelled us from that point to be able to not only open 1, but 2 storefronts at this time. It was for us such a blessing to see that love from the community.
And the wonderful thing about the fundraiser that we had, we called it Home Sweet Home, because the purpose of this fundraiser was to find us a place to call our own, because we really had nowhere to go. The rec center was wonderful, and it was the only place that we could go, and we were trying to hold our classes, but they're very busy too, and a lot of our classes were held in the hallway, and we had to restrict the number of participants that could come. So calling it Home Sweet Home, we really kind of drove our message to the people that tuned in to our fundraiser. They answered the call and really supported us and lifted us up. And within, I think it was 6 months from the time we had the fundraiser, we opened up doors to our first facility. So it's amazing. And now, again, here we are with the second one with Love Nana. So it was a very successful and humbling experience to have that fundraiser, but it was awesome.
Backyard Players not only strives to help its participants in the present, but also in the future through their 2 new programs.
We started something called Employment Connection, where we started to realize that our participants, or teens and young adults, really needed a job, somewhere to work and to get paid for that job. So it's a relatively new program that we've just added, but also then we realized that some of the participants needed a little bit more training, a little bit more understanding of what it means to go out and work in the community and hold a job and have those responsibilities. So we were trying to figure out, do we hold a class to teach that? What would be the best way for us to help those individuals? When we kind of just turned and looked at what my mother was doing for the past year, was she was collecting gently used baby clothing, cleaning it, washing it, bagging it, and creating these beautiful packages, which looks like presents, and we were giving them to local hospitals and young families in need. When my mother's home became overrun with clothing, we knew we needed to do something. So we just kind of said, well, how about if we make this our work study program. So we were able to rent another space right around the corner from where we currently are now in Rockville Center off of Long Beach Road. And it's called Love Nana. And we have our backyard player participants. I think we're up to about 40 or 50 now that are scheduled a couple hours a week to come in and work and learn some life skills and learn to be responsible and show up on time and what it means to hold down a job. And once they feel comfortable enough that they can hold a job, we'll then transition them over to Employment Connection. So what Nana was doing for the past year has now become a new Backyard Players and Friends program.
It's clear that Backyard Players holds a special place in the hearts of many, especially for the founders who have stuck with it for the past 15 years.
It's really just a part of me. It's just a part of my life. It's certainly not a job. And as we like to say, we are non-traditional managers out in a business world. But really what we are sisters and people who are just so happy to be in this position. Every day we walk in, every day we learn something new from our participants. We have been just so blessed.
Perfectly said. It's just part of who we are. It's been a part of our lives for so long now. And like Ellen said, it's not work. It actually just kind of feels like, you wake up every morning, you go to work, and then you go to Backyard Players. So it's just part of who we are. And it's been wonderful all this time.
It means love for other people, not just yourself and your family, but just giving the time and space. As a caregiver, you realize that how important it is that you just don't know what anybody's going through. Just to give them that space, whether it's yoga, fitness, theater, just sitting in a group chat with the kids. It's just about sharing your experiences and showing pure love, and it feels good.
For WRHU, I'm Victoria Bell.